to be a climate leader, but we were trying to be an energy superpower. It's impossible to be both.
Tuesday night at 10 on MPT.
University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, leading the way on Chesapeake Bay restoration, while guiding our state, nation, and world toward a more sustainable future.
If you're looking for flowers for Mom on Mother's Day and love the soothing sounds of jazz, then downtown Westminster, Maryland is your destination on Saturday, May 7th for the Flower and Jazz Festival, a great event for the entire family.
The Mechanical Contractors Association of Maryland helps keep us safe and comfortable inside our office, government, healthcare, and educational facilities. They build and maintain the region's mechanical infrastructure, heating, ventilating, air conditioning, and plumbing systems. MCA-Maryland contractors have been leaders in workforce development, offering hands-on experience through apprenticeships that can lead to a career in this growing industry. Visit their website to learn more about their partners and education programs.
This program is made by MPT to enrich the diverse communities throughout our state and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you.
Connecting Marylanders to their government. This is State Circle.
Good evening. Welcome to State Circle. Coming up tonight, a decision on a new Bay Bridge. And will a new effort to improve police-community relations hit it out of the park? But first tonight, one of Maryland's best-known educators is hanging up the university president's robe after 30 years. We visited with Dr. Freeman Hrabowski on campus at UMBC. On a large university campus, the school president is often a remote figure. Not so at UMBC.
Come and introduce yourselves for a minute. Tell me your names and what your majors are. I know engineering, but go ahead and tell them.
My name is Daniel Kahn. I'm a mechanical engineer, junior year.
Yep. And were you at high school?
I went to McDonough High School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his brother went to McDonough?
Yeah, both our
and
brothers.
is in med school now? It's really nice.
Yeah. It's insane.
My name is Nathan Mike. I'm Nathan Tamaru. I'm an international student. I'm a math and comp sci major.
Yay, math.
I went to Baltimore Polytechnic Institute in Baltimore City, yes.
Yeah.
And next semester in the fall, I will be going to NYU for their master's in bioethics program.
Tell me your majors.
I'm a political science and psych major.
Visual arts.
Right. What year?
I'm a senior.
Senior?
I'm also a senior.
You haven't any idea what you're going to do yet?
I want to work on political campaigns.
Okay.
Something in graphic design.
UMBC opened in the 1960s. 20 years later, Dr. Hrabowski first arrived as a vice provost. He was named president in 1992. You started here before you were the president.
Yeah, I was here for
What did
35
this
years.
campus look like?
It was a campus of very dedicated people, a lot of smart students, fewer buildings, and an environment that said we are on our way, moving to the next level, trying to figure out what's that next level. But a lot of people who had given their lives for building this university.
Did you see a blank canvas at all?
Not really. I saw all these amazing people who had great ideas, and I had the chance to work with all of them as we together thought through who are we going to be. That's the idea. So the first line in the new book we wrote, Empower University, says, it's not about me, it's about us. And that's the celebration. It's about the community of UMBC.
Maryland has a number of historically black colleges, a number of historically white colleges. UMBC is neither of those things.
That is correct. We are historically diverse. We're the only campus in the state of Maryland founded at such a time that people of all races could come here. It's been predominantly white. Now we have the largest minority group is Asian, actually, of Asian background, but large numbers of students from around the world, but getting great students from Baltimore to the Eastern Shore, up to New York and other places.
It's been a major emphasis and interest for you in recruiting and boosting minority students.
Minority students, but also students from around the world. We Americans have to learn how to work effectively with people from all over the world. It's very important. And to understand what we have in common as human beings. Very important. And to appreciate each culture. African American, Latino, Asian, all cultures, people from different parts of Europe. And we do that here. And what makes us special, people mix it up. They connect. across groups, which I think is the key to the future of our not just of our country, but of human society.
One of the keys when you look at the history of UMBC was the Meyerhoff Scholars
Yes.
Program.
Yes.
Tell me how that got started,
Yes.
your role in
Sure.
raising the money, which I know you like to do.
Sure. But I start with Robert Meyerhoff, who's now in his 90s, but Robert had this idea, Bob Meyerhoff had this idea of doing something to help black males. And he was very straight up about that everything he saw on TV, if it wasn't sports, it was negative. And he said, I've been working on issues with my wife on things involving women. They've done a lot for Mrs. Meyerhoff's alma mater, Goucher. But he said, I want to focus on the black male. And so from the beginning, we looked at that population. We've looked at a number of populations since then, but we started with that group. That was his vision. He's got a background in engineering. People don't know that. We wanted to see what we could do to increase the number of students of color, particularly blacks, who could succeed in science and engineering, since most Americans of all races who begin in those majors do not succeed. That's a critical national challenge that we face. We have figured out a way to help not only those black students succeed, but other students of color and our white students. So they all graduate at much higher rates in the sciences as they do in the humanities. And most important, we're now the leading producer of blacks who go on to get PhDs in science. And what's nice about that is everybody knows that that Surgeon General is ours, from last Surgeon General, the Health Commissioner, and the creator of the vaccine. That's the big deal.
Around the same time the construction work was getting started for the new UMBC campus, its future leader was in a Birmingham, Alabama jail. With fear and courage, he and hundreds of other young people joined the Children's March for Civil Rights. They were locked up for 5 days. Formative experience in your childhood.
Yes.
You were 12,
Yes.
I think,
Yes.
in Birmingham.
Yes.
When Dr. Martin Luther King
Yes.
Jr. came to your church.
Yeah.
He was organizing a children's march.
Yes, yes.
You signed up.
Yep.
You wound up in jail
Yeah,
for
sure.
5 days.
Yes, you've done your homework.
Talk about how much that
Sure.
altered you. I mean, it was a formative
Yes.
moment in the civil rights movement.
Yes, yes.
But for young Freeman Hrabowski,
Yes.
what was it?
Yeah, it was a moment of empowerment because he was saying that you, children, can make a difference in your own lives, that you can be the change, that you don't have time to be defined by other people, and that you can dream about the possibilities. And tomorrow, he was saying, could be better than today. And that same notion is what we see at the university. If you look at our Center for Democracy, when students go out and work in the city and they tutor and they mentor children, they realize they're being the change at that moment. When they say, well, how do we get to do what you do? I say, you don't have to go to jail to do what I did. You want to do something to change the lives of children, to help them. And so our Center for Democracy focused on reflecting on the political situation, the economic situation, and on how we can help people less fortunate. It's doing exactly what Dr. King was saying to us, that we have to be about more than ourselves. We have to think about the public good and the ways in which we can make a difference.
That was almost 60 years ago.
It was.
How distant or maybe how close does that seem?
Sure.
Sitting here in the boardroom on this campus.
It's unbelievable that I could have lived 60 years and more, number one. Anybody our age knows that. But number two, next year it will have been 60 years since I sat in that jail. And now I look out and I see this beautiful campus and I see students from all over the world. And I see black and brown and Asian kids, Hispanic, working together, studying together, living together. That is more than I could ever have dreamed. And what it says to me is we have made a lot of progress in this country. We should never forget that. And at the same time, we have much more to do. If one is educated, the world opens up all the possibilities. Even if there's a little challenge from time to time, nothing like what happens to children of any race who don't learn to read well and to dream, you see. So we should be inspired by the progress we've made, from the little 12-year-old looking out of the jail to this 71-year-old looking out the library window at kids from all over the world. It shows the evolution of life and of us as a democracy.
Dr. Hrabowski has led UMBC for more than half its existence, from basically a startup enterprise to a mature academic brand. In your 30 years at the helm here, has the pitch changed at all when you're talking to prospective students, parents of prospective students, did your message evolve from 30, 20, 10 years ago to what it is now?
Sure. I mean, we've always been able to say we've had some great graduates. I had a wonderful opportunity to take our Maryland judges, UMBC alumni who are Maryland judges, on the roof of this building, of the administration building. And these are people from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and even beyond 2000. And the message was the same. They were well prepared. They were about public service. And so whether I'm talking about the Speaker of the House, or the head of the Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, or the president of Clemson, these are people who are well prepared and they serve others. We love that message.
You have a new designation as a research institution.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we've been now counted among the 146 Research One universities of the thousands and thousands of universities. And so it means that we have come up in both the science and engineering areas, but the humanities and social sciences. We've always had a lot of grants in science, but we needed to become more comprehensive, and we've invested in the arts and creative work and in the humanities and the social sciences. And so this is Carnegie, the arbiter of standards in this space, saying you're one of the best, one of the most productive across the disciplines from the humanities to the sciences and engineering.
You are a relentlessly positive person, at least when the cameras are on. And I know it's in the job description for a university president, but you're leaving the job.
Right.
So now you can talk to us maybe with a little more reflection about the university system in Maryland, the institutions. We have great institutions around the state. There's got to be something we could do to make it better, to better prepare it for the decades ahead.
You know, I start by saying I've never known a time when we have been stronger as a university system of Maryland. We are working collaboratively across the board. Our chancellor is a champion for all of us. The board of regents are people who really get the message, and the elected officials, the governor and the legislature, work really hard to invest in higher education. I go around the country talking about Maryland as a model for higher education, and I want to give credit to public higher education and private higher education. I was just at a reception with College Town. Many people don't realize Baltimore is a college town. We've got 120,000 students in colleges here, 2- and 4-year institutions. And most important, when I think about it, it is that we can be even more appreciated by the public as the public realizes what a difference we make to the quality of living in the state of Maryland, in this area of Baltimore, but for the whole state. The fact that we are better educated than most of the country says a lot about why we do what we do and how we spend so much time thinking about the human condition. That's the question. If you are one of the richest states and one of the best educated, in top 2 or 3, what should you be doing to think about improving the human condition? Our elected officials, our universities, our school systems are focused on that question.
Okay, but there's some jockeying as they focus on that question. This institution wants to have this program, that institution has exclusive rights to it. There's a, you know, we have a university system of Maryland. We also have a Maryland Higher Education Commission. There are politics. There's levels of management overseeing. Within all of that, what would you change?
I would have institutions given the right to offer more programs that they think people want. That's with all due respect to everyone, trying to be as positive as I can be. But I know as I work with universities and some other states, they can offer whatever they think people need as programs. We have more restrictions here. We need to look at those restrictions so that we are meeting the needs of the residents of Maryland. We do a good job, but success is never final. We can be better.
The most recent U.S. News and World Report college rankings list UMBC as the nation's 6th most innovative university, and 6th as well for undergraduate teaching in the nation. Let's talk leadership a little bit. There's no management school here, but if there was, they could do a case study on the 30 years of leadership of Freeman Hrabowski. And it's about commitment and intellect and energy. but there's something else. You're not going to want to talk about this, but there's force of personality.
I appreciate
when you
that.
walk in a room.
Yeah.
People notice. I don't know why that is.
It's because I have a loud mouth. Voice.
you also believe.
Yeah, I do believe.
You believe in the mission. You wear it on your sleeve. Sure. You're not afraid to ask people for money to support the school.
Yeah.
Is it a conscious thing?
Well, you know, first of all, you'll be pleased to know Harvard has done 2 case studies on my leadership over this past 30 years. And they use it with provosts and presidents and deans, and my colleague Rick Simmons helps, and we teach those courses. But they do have these case studies. They use with hundreds of campuses, and what I'm always saying is, it's not about me, it's about this group of us together, and the chemistry, the relationships among faculty and students and us, that it's not a us versus them situation. That's what makes the magic, when people have the same vision of the institution and they all are aspiring for students to be their best. There's something about that that's very exciting.
Valerie Shears Ashby has been appointed by the University System of Maryland Board of Regents as the next president of UMBC beginning in August. Now, a new youth baseball field in Prince George's County looks to change the narrative between the police and the community. Charles Robinson has our story.
I would love to play baseball here. I would love to play baseball here. It looks kind of cool, though. Fun things that kids can do here, such as playing and having fun with their friends.
So what makes this Cal Ripken Senior Field different? It's one of the first to be located next to a police department.
As we celebrate, as was mentioned by a couple of other speakers, the opening of the very first youth development park in the nation to be located on the grounds of a police department. I just think that's wonderful.
I think it's understated that the police division is right here. It's right here, for those who don't know. So being on this property is a milestone.
It's opportunities for the youth to look at the police in a different light, for them to be able to come out, to play, to enjoy, for us to give back to the community. We have to invest in the next generation, and for some reason we lost that.
It's the 107th Youth Development Park, built in honor of Cal Ripken Sr., the former Oriole skipper. The Ripken name has been associated with the Prince George's Police Department through their badges for baseball.
We couldn't be more proud of putting, in a sense, you send police officers into communities, but now we're sending communities here on site with the police officers so they can come and continue that relationship of trust and being able to help and serve the communities in the way that they would like to.
A start to bridging the trust between young people and law enforcement. In Palmer Park, I'm Charles Robinson for State Circle.
Our newsmakers this week are James Moran, a member of the Queen Anne's County Board of Commissioners, and Amanda Fiedler, a member of the Arundel County Council. Thank you so much for joining us. The federal government has made a decision recently about the future of the Bay Bridge, a new Bay Bridge. Mr. Moran, can you explain what it is that they did?
Well, we are in the NEPA process right now. The National
You lost me there. Okay.
Yeah,
NEPA.
Full of acronyms. But it is the process that the federal government has when you get into these type of projects that are going to be environmentally sensitive. So it's just basically a guideline on how to approach these projects, and you go through these phases. And what has happened is over the last 6 years, COVID has slowed the process down for approximately 2 years. But Governor Hogan started this, and I believe in 2016, started the NEPA process for another bridge, replacement bridge for the aging bridges that are out there now. And we've gone through phase one, which identified which corridor out of the 14 corridors up and down the bay, corridor 7 that goes from Anne Arundel County to Queen Anne's County was selected by MDTA, and it was also approved by the Federal Highway Administration, which a record of decision, the ROD, came from the Federal Highway Administration. So now that moves us, we're done with phase one, and now it moves us to phase two, which identifies exactly where in that 2-mile corridor the bridge will start, stop, and also where the funding will come from. Will it be a bridge? Will it be a tunnel? It answers all those questions. Additional overpasses, widening of the roads, that all happens in phase two of the NEPA.
So, Ms. Fiedler, is it your understanding that this is sort of a done deal in terms of if there's going to be an additional crossing, it's going to be near the current crossing?
That's right. I mean, the writing was really on the wall when the list was dwindled from 14 down to 3 locations. And that's when I really felt it necessary to step up my involvement, because all 3 locations were right here in Anne Arundel County on the western shore. But it was apparent this is where the bridge was probably going to end up, and our intuition turned out to be accurate.
You represent, I believe, the Broadneck Peninsula, which is where Route 50 goes and where the western terminus of the bridges are right now. How does this all play with your constituents?
It plays a huge part in really quality of life for my constituents. It used to be 10 years ago, Fridays and Saturdays, it was bad traffic. Now it's Wednesday through Monday is bad traffic. And even if, as you're seeing commuters come over the bridge for jobs, an accident can really strap this district for hours. You're talking about kids trying to get home from school, families trying to get on with activities for the evening. It gridlocks us for hours in the summer.
And you're saying it doesn't just gridlock Route 50, but it's neighborhood roads as well?
Yes, with the introduction of technology and mapping and travel apps, folks who never knew about roads that connected to Route 50, if you just hopped off and went through a few communities, they know about those now. So they're taking them, and we're really creating an additional secondary problem on local roads.
That's really interesting, the role of technology in that. Mr. Moran, on the eastern shore, Queen Anne's County, Kent Island, those communities, I'll ask you both how this plays to constituents there. And I believe you're an at-large member of the commission, but you have another perspective on this, is in that you are one of those commuters who comes across the bridge every day.
Every day. I work in Crofton. I live in Queen Anne's County. And, these bridges, I've been a commissioner for 9 years. And 8 years ago, we started on this process of trying to find solutions to our summertime backups. Like Amanda says, everybody goes to the beach Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but a majority of them come home Sunday nights, and that's what affects Queen Anne's County. Last year alone, even coming out of COVID, our worst backup was 17 miles. And what happens is it's an island. So our constituents don't leave their homes on Sundays. And it's about 70% of our population does not leave their homes on Sunday because they don't know if they'll be able to get back. The traffic jumps off, as Amanda says, with the technology, the Waze, puts them on the local roads, jams the local roads, stops our emergency services from doing what they have to do in transporting. Remember, Anne Arundel County has 2 hospitals. Queen Anne's County has none. So when it comes to an accident, we either fly them out, we take them to Easton, or we try to get them to Anne Arundel General, which is the closest to us.
Okay, so that sounds like a rationale for put a new bridge somewhere else, but that's not the commission's position on this.
No, because the public understands, and we're trying to educate them even more along the way. We have one bridge that's met its life cycle, past 20 years. The 2-lane bridge is 20 years past its life cycle. The 3-lane bridge meets its life cycle next year. We're spending billions of dollars to keep these 2 antiquated bridges functioning, where that money would be better spent increasing capacity at the existing crossing. And what we're asking for is an 8-lane bridge just to handle the traffic. I mean, all roads run to Rome. And for 50 years, every road has been built to reach that crossing. So to move a bridge somewhere else not only would cost a lot more money, because this is the shortest over the water route, you'd have to buy land, you'd have to fight off all kinds of challenges. And all the while, Anne Arundel County and Queen Anne's County suffers with this traffic just, getting worse and worse.
Honestly, in the back of my mind, and this is just a cosmetic thing, I had assumed there would be a third bridge and that it would look really stupid from a planning standpoint. That, we first built 2 lanes, then we built 3 more, and then we built another set. But you're proposing knocking down the other 2, which would be way more expensive, right? I mean, do you think that's really a possibility?
Well, I don't think it'll be way more expensive, but yes, it's definitely a possibility. You got to remember the first bridge opened in 52. 21 years later, they opened up a 3-lane bridge, and then for the next 50 years, nothing happened. And all the while, Ocean City, Delaware beaches are just exploding. We've formed after our resolution and Anne Arundel County's resolution that we accept a replacement bridge at this location, because it's where the infrastructure already exists and the property is already owned. That's what we're pushing for. And we have now got a coalition of 14 counties, all the ones on the Eastern Shore and some on the Western Shore, that have signed on in agreement in support of this project.
Ms. Fiedler, if it's going to be a third bridge or a big new bridge or a tunnel, although that it seems kind of expensive, is there anything that could be done with the connecting roads to solve the problem in your neighborhoods?
So the state has really reviewed the corridor in Anne Arundel County, specifically in District 5, to look for options. The community worked directly with law enforcement to try to keep the roads local only. But we were told by the federal agencies that we cannot restrict local or out-of-towners from using local roads to access a federally funded highway. I do believe that the state is going to review a meter gate system to kind of deter folks from taking local roads to then access. It would be set up in a way that if you're coming from a local road, this meter gate is only going to let so many cars through at a time, thereby slowing down the local roads access, not preventing it or prohibiting, but slowing. And then that would show up and be a deterrent on the ways apps.
Is there a mass transit alternative of any kind here? I mean, I suppose you could run light rail over the bridge, but what would it connect to?
That's a great question. So I think that there may be opportunities in the future as transportation evolves. Our main goal right now is to, number one, get the amount of traffic that is on local roads onto the main roads and have enough infrastructure to get them over. Once we reach that goal, I think we could look at alternatives.
Our thanks to Commissioner Moran and Councilmember Fiedler, and thank you for watching State Circle. Have a good night.
You can discover the behind-the-scenes story of the historic White House restoration. Jacqueline Kennedy and Henry Francis DuPont, From Winneter to the White House, opens May 7th.
From the beloved novel by Jane Austen.